before you get to
guys.
the rest. Hey,
There
Lydia.
she is.
Nice to have you.
All right,
And
Lydia. Now there's a good picture. That you know what you gotta use that from now on because we'll get Lydia back in the regular rotation. Okay.
So, Lydia, transitory inflation.
oh, I'm so happy to hear you guys say that because I don't think so either. But
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
just fundamental reasons why could, it very well could not be transitory. And
For people that haven't noticed, by the way, and I don't know, Lydia, if you actually saw that very recently, just a few days ago, even the IMF came out and in a very discreet way said that there are some worries that with the current fiscal policy in the US, inflation might be more sticky. They were, of course, very gentle and polite in putting it in words, but I was kind of surprised positively in this case because it was a how do you call it in English? It was a kernel of truth.
right,
Yeah.
Thanks for
exactly.
being here, Lydia. It was a
Of
great
course. Thanks
interview.
for having me.
Hey, listen, Lydia, do you want to share your screen?
Sure.
Okay, because before we get to the markets, I just want to talk to you about what you've been doing. And I know I've reached out to you a few times, and you're traveling to Africa.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, you have a new mission in life, combining, something that's in your heart with maybe some financial deals. And what's going on in Africa for you? What are you working on down there?
So I have been getting involved a lot in private markets. A lot of activity for the past decade, but I've been involved
Yeah,
in really more heavily in the last, I would say 44 years, 4 years.
yeah,
Yeah, so doing a lot more venture capital. And so
cool.
it's interesting what's going on in private markets in the context of monetary policy and foreign exchange. Because a venture capital, I would say Forex is important. So right
Yeah,
now we're seeing investors right now source dollars. Dollars are hard to find, which
okay.
means why wouldn't the price of the dollar, increase or rise? So looking at the pound top out at $1.42 several weeks ago now. Um,
Are they
was
embracing crypto down there too, Lydia?
Yes,
For the
completely. Yes.
debanked, I think that was one of the purposes of crypto was for the people that didn't have bank accounts.
Yeah,
The
it's for the
decoin.
unbanked, but if we even it's even for trade, mostly for trade, just being able to find the dollars to pay for imports.
Okay.
So without having dollars or access to dollars, or I say access to dollars being more constrained, using crypto, using Bitcoin to pay for your
Yeah.
input so that you can do trade. And then different startups coming out with wallets that allows you then to now also accept Bitcoin for payments for your goods. So yeah, it's more, yeah, a lot of people talk about the unbanked, but it's really to facilitate just trade, just regular trade, on the continent, even beyond e-commerce, just trade as we know it.
Why are
Um,
dollars so scarce down there?
ha, well, that has a lot to do with monetary policy, to be quite honest with you.
They don't
Capital.
want the dollar there to be competition for their local currency? Is that it?
Um, I don't. Maybe it could be
Yeah,
that there. You know what? Yes, because as you say that, I'm thinking, yeah, most people want their currencies to be stronger.
yeah.
But and they've been succumbing to market forces and having to devalue local currencies against the dollar,
Okay.
which makes dollars more in demand. So it's a kind of
Yeah,
a vicious cycle, right? So it has a
yeah.
lot to do with monetary policy, really trying to strengthen local currencies, but you're defying
Okay.
what the market needs, which is, if you're doing global commerce still right now, especially through Africa, folks want dollars or euros or pounds, not necessarily, even when you're doing cross-border payments between, let's say, Ghana and Nigeria, there's a preference for dollars over
Okay.
CDs or Naira. So
How
just
about
a lot of
wands?
trade happening.
China's pretty active there, aren't they?
China is
Chinese?
acting in terms of infrastructure projects.
Okay.
Yes. But
Yeah.
I do a lot more tech stuff than
Yeah.
infrastructure and real estate. So we see a lot more dollars, even with different investors coming in, whether they're European. I just spoke to some Japanese investors. I've spoken to Saudi investors in the
Yeah.
past couple of weeks. And so when you're looking at tech and venture capital, you know, it's all dollars. It's still dollars.
Okay.
It's still dominated by dollars. So
Well,
that's been interesting.
I can tell you one thing. It's great to hear your voice again.
Thank you
And
so much
you
for
know,
having me.
I've
Dale's
been
been so patient,
trying.
y'all. I've been trying to.
You know,
He's been
Lydia, are
really
you available? Lydia, are you
so
available?
kind.
Finally, yeah.
I,
All right. So you know, we've had a little stabilization in the dollar, and you know, I'm ready to see what you're thinking here in cable. Are you in the camp that there's still at least a counter trend bear market rally in the dollar that has legs, and are you more biased to sell rallies in cable, or are you looking for breaks to take longer term long positions?
the the pound dollar is still bullish, and so it's been consolidating, and I think it can consolidate lower, but we're sitting here at this support level
Yeah,
that's been going price. I mean,
right.
it's a quite medium term support here with these lows here. So we're
Hmm.
seeing all this bouncing. Like I was surprised actually to see us here below $1.40. Um, but I wasn't surprised to see us lower than that. So I just think we're consolidating. You know how the cable acts, it's July. You know how cable acts this time of year anyway. If you're into seasonality and watching it seasonally, we tend to consolidate a bit and see more of a break in come Labor Day weekend. We'll see more of a break. So I just think we're doing a
Okay,
lot of
so some are
consolidation
doldrums
at this
for
point.
cable, and
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
so then you have to look to the crosses to find some action, right?
Yes. You know my favorite. It's the Euro
I
pound.
do, and you know, I've been trading. It's been doing nothing. You don't know how many times I've changed my mind in the last, you know, 4 or 5 4 or 5 months.
Everything
Although
is
I've been trying to
consolidating.
buy it for a while, you know.
Yes, I've been alongside you in that trade then. It's
Yeah,
been yeah, and we can see like the that it's bottoming. I mean, to me, this is a bottoming, and if we don't break below these lows, below 0.8472 here, if we
yeah.
just don't break below 0.85 in general, just generally speaking, I just think we're accumulating, and you know, I just think again, it's a lot of consolidating. I mean, pound has been strong. Pound has been
Right.
strong for a long time. I would say probably most of 2020, right? So there's a lot of long-term consolidation, and a lot of these moves, if you're just looking longer term, have been Fibonacci extension levels. So you know, long term, like big, like this is you know the 261.8 level
Okay.
here on the euro pound. Even the pound yen has also hit the same kind of really big Fibonacci extension levels. So there's going to be natural consolidation, especially after these much longer term. These have been really big moves on the big chart. So to me,
Yeah.
I think that yeah, if you're not really short, you guys know I'm not short term, I'm more of a swing trader. So to me, this has been the perfect time to be focused in other markets because it's natural seasonality where plus we're coming off these big moves. So to me, it's like it's been
Good time for a
profit
vacation.
taking and accumulation, and what most traders are doing, what most people at the big desks are doing, especially now that we're outside is open. Yes, I
Okay.
would enforce moves right now. Ooh, especially
Okay.
July. I
All
remember
right. You know,
I used to open up big in July.
Uh, Stelios is looking for your target if you put those fib extensions out, and I'm wondering if you could see that too. That's the next support area, the
Yeah, well, this is
3.618. If we break
yeah.
that 82,
But see, I don't think this is the next. I mean, this we can get. It could go. I don't think we're going here, guys. If we don't get,
okay,
but so you know, I don't like to forecast. Like I like to see where we can go, but what we're doing right now is finding this support, and this is
yeah,
the kind of huge play. Is like we're Yeah, I could go to
Right.
82, but I really, I don't see us breaking below that. And that would be this large, huge 618 level,
Yeah.
which can now catalyze, could be as like a catalyst for pound weakness. So then what becomes the impetus for pound weakness? Because all of this is just it's crazy strength. I mean, it's
Okay.
when I was looking at this, I told you. Oh no, sorry, I'm going backwards. Go back. I was trying to take some of these fib extensions off to kind of bring us into a more shorter term view, because longer term is like we've
Yeah.
hit all the targets, all any of our your very long view, we've hit targets. So I can't be I be a proponent of you trading these on the much shorter term, and just taking pips out of the market. But
Okay.
anything on the setup for a swing trader like myself is just where I feel like we're just all consolidating all over the place.
All
Other
right.
than
How about back to 148 on that though, Lydia, for a long-term buy back against a breakout? If
that
that
would be
happens, would
great.
you be
Yes,
interested?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
I
Thank
think
you.
you can even come in between 148 and 146. This is 146.97, but 147. Have you guys remembered all this price action around 148,
Yeah.
147? So to be
Yeah.
above that, yes, and I could see a lot of faking out around 148,
Yeah.
to the downside, and then but finding support. So just remember, there's a zone here at 148. So just be careful of where you're buying. But yeah, I mean, I see pound yen. I mean, unless equities turn, right? We see major risk aversion enter the market. Um, I would imagine that our consolidation takes us into these long-term now support levels that have been
Okay.
resistant for years.
Yeah.
For those of us
Years.
in trading, yeah, this is a year-long support, former resistance level. I suspect the pound yen stays above here for as long as we have this very, very uh, risk appetite supported by this monetary policy.
Yeah.
I
That's a
imagine.
2400 pip formation. So if the breakout holds there at 48, it measures 172.
I think the breakout holds. I think the
Okay.
breakout.
That's a big formation. It's
Yeah,
huge. AC,
yeah,
you could call it ascending triangle, head and shoulders, whatever. That breakout's huge. Okay. All
yeah.
right.
But
So
we
what
think
about the
it's up
commodity
here.
currencies here?
All right. So looking at the pound kiwi, it's the same deal, but nothing. The pound kiwi was interesting to me because it was one of the few that didn't have the I'm not in the long term view. I'm on the 1 point. It didn't have. It was one of the ones that didn't have this crazy breakout. So we're and I think that has a lot to do with the relative strength we've seen in commodities. But pound was really strong, actually.
Yeah.
This was the
Yeah.
pound kiwi, and it's struggling even still to break out, even where we're
Yeah.
seeing the pound break out amongst other ones. So I think this was probably more of a tough trade though, because if you saw the strength in commodities, you were trying to sell this, but pound pound strength, and fundamentally, pound strength didn't make sense to me.
Okay. All
Not
right.
fundamentally. So you really had to go with the charts if you're
And
trading.
and why is that? Is it a post-Brexit hangover or what?
That's it had it had a special bout with COVID that took
Okay.
its economy,
Yeah.
closed its economy for the longest out of most of major economies. And
Yeah.
so, you would have thought that we would see a lot more pound strength, but that just wasn't the case at all.
Okay.
I
All
mean, I'm
right.
sorry, a lot more pound weakness, but
Yeah.
that wasn't the case at all. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I haven't really done the commodity dollars at all, Dale, to be honest with you. I've just stuck to
Okay.
these major three.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Hmm.
I'll tell you, Lydia, I knew people that stayed in one trading pit their whole career that had
Yeah. We
chauffeurs.
talked about this.
It only takes one. I mean, I know you teach and educate, and better to, know one instrument like the back of your hand instead of
Yeah.
being unfocused on 10,
Yep.
right?
Yes. Yes. And when you
Okay.
have these times for me, market where, I'm focused in
You've
other
narrowed your
asset
focus
classes,
because
I
you're
never
busy.
focus. Yeah.
You don't, it sounds like you don't have as much time with all the things you're doing to like day trade and sit around and scalp anymore. That you're
Correct.
swing trading now.
I'm more of string trading, you know that. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I've never been much of a scalper.
Okay. All right. So uh why don't you take us to your website, and so people know how to get a hold of you, and they've heard your voice again, and maybe they'd be interested. Maybe you have some new products since I've last talked to you that
Yeah.
they could get involved with.
Thanks so much. I always like to show the blog because there's various ways to connect with me here. Whether you're interested in just basic trading, I know this community is more advanced traders, but we do a lot of different analysis. Been doing a lot more stocks for clients lately, and so I've been posting that work, and have a
Okay.
few folks under me now too that are contributing to the blog. So we do a lot of more stocks because of clients. But you can learn about the firm with this link. Invest with us. I just have one course. This is really for those who are coming new into trading, and I just use Forex markets naturally to teach just the basic technical analysis, very very basic. We teach 5 indicators. Talk
Okay.
about focus. We just focus in on 5 indicators. So if you're really new to trading, you can check out the course that I have here, and just analysis. You guys are just interested in what reviews. The same way that I look at Forex is the way I look at stocks, is I look at commodities, the way I look at futures, and and that's what I teach is, we use the same analysis that works for
Yeah.
you.
A chart is a chart is a chart, right?
Price action is price action. Exactly.
Yeah.
Crypto.
The,
Yes,
the only
exactly.
difference is leverage and beta. The title. If that's really, I mean, you trade your pivots and fibs and everything the same way on Google as you do on cable,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
Yep, that's how I trade it. That's how I trade it. That's
Okay.
how I approach the
So
markets.
that's the difference I noticed. A lot more coverage in equities for you on your blog.
Yes, because of clients. We're getting a lot more client requests too about, like for example, well, how can I play quantum computing? Because we have some engineers and they see what's going
Right.
on in Bitcoin, and then they want to get ahead of a trend. So what do we look like? What is quantum computing trend, and who are the players in that market? So we do a lot of that request work now, and we post a little bit of it. Obviously we can't post everything. So that's another big change is figuring out what I keep with clients and what I make public. So there's a lot. Then there's, if you've seen
Right.
change in my Twitter feed, that's been a huge reason. That's been a huge reason since starting the RIA. I still have
Okay.
a lot of fun on all the markets. And this has been a great time to be focused in something else because, seasonally, I know the pound is going to go through doldrums, and given the big moves last year where pound was really moving nicely. Um, I can, allow it to accumulate and get set up for moves. But yeah, Dale, you called out my trade because that pound yen is what I'm waiting for to drop into
Oh,
148
okay.
and to
I'm
see how it
sorry.
moves. Oh no, it's
Great,
okay, of
great,
course.
great minds.
Exactly.
Cedric is asking if you have any written trading guides that you offer. Anything written
I
where?
don't. The closest thing
Okay.
would be just the stuff that I do on the blog.
Okay. All right. Well, Lydia, thank you so much for coming in today and stepping up for me. And I'll be in touch with you after they process the interview. And I'm always rooting for you,
Thank you,
whether
Dale.
we're speaking
Thanks.
or not. I'm a fan.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. Thank you
Okay.
for having me, truly so much.
All right, everyone. Lydia Finkley, and you could find her on Twitter at Faith Might. And that's also the name of your blog, right?
Yes.
Faithmight.com.
Yep. Faith Might FX.
Okay.
Twitter has
Okay.
Faith Might. Yep.
And I don't even have to tell you to keep the faith. I know you. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Lydia. Really a
Thank
pleasure
you, Dale.
speaking with you again.
I appreciate it.
All
I
right.
love
So everyone,
it.
that's a wrap for Turnaround Tuesday. Made a couple decent calls. Could have scalped the indexes, but it really wasn't my style I didn't even know there was big news coming out. That's how aware I am. And just don't count your pips. If you made some today, count your blessings. And we'll see everyone tomorrow. Good hunting and adios. Thanks again, Lydia.
Thank you, Dale.